Once again, give no praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakat Kodash.
So, you got any precepts you want to open up with? Let's jump right into it.
This is Revelation chapter 10, verse 9. It says, I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. He said unto me, take it and eat it.
The little book is the Bible. And so when it says to eat it, that means to embrace it with all of your heart, meaning your minds. So in other words, you can't just pick out which part of the Bible you like or dislike. You have to deal with the entire book.
It says, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
Yeah, make your belly bitter, because in a way, the Bible does expose you to how things really are in this world. And that can have a bad effect on you if you're not ready to understand how things are in this world and why things are the way they are in this world. You know what I'm saying? It could be too much for somebody to process in the moment.
It's one thing to visualize something that's wrong, but to understand why it's wrong, is something totally different. It says, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey.
And also sweet because the Bible tells you the things to come. It tells you how the kingdom is going to be operated and who it's going to be operated by. Okay?
It says the kingdom will be translated from one people to another.
So it's important for Israelites to depart mentally from this kingdom, because we understand that this ain't our rest. You know, the way things are set up in Babylon, you're supposed to be relying on capitalism. So if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't eat, then you don't survive.
Right.
Whereas in the old days, when people were living, they had their own land, and not just land, they had fertile land. So therefore, they was able to farm crops. You know, they had enough land for cattle. So you was more like self-sufficient.
Right.
So let somebody tell it, somebody that's living like how they were in the ancient world, you know, you're poor. But who's really poor? The person that's self-sufficient and has land that they can cultivate, or the person that's connected to capitalism and chasing after a dollar that's devaluing by the day?
You got all these scams here in this world, like college. That's a scam here in this side. Like before, like in the ancient world, you will just do whatever it is your father did. Your father was a carpenter, you'll be a carpenter. Your father was a blacksmith, you'll be a blacksmith.
Right.
And you can make a living like that. It says, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey, and as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
Yeah, and that's speaking about John the Revelator, because if you read about his fate, he was sentenced to be isolated on the island of Patmos in his last days, over 2,000 years ago. So there's no way he went out and prophesied again. So that would be talking about in another lifetime, which that time period is now.
Right. Got a precept. This is Ecclesiastes 7:7. So surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
Break that down.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, all we have is hope. You know, we're not trying to take matters into our own hands, trying to make this our kingdom. We're just going to wait for Yahweh Shai to come back and save us out of this kingdom and restore us in our land.
Yeah, and it's not like we're putting all our trust and faith into a political system
Right.
that doesn't even represent us.
We're not waiting on lines to go vote.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you saw the debate the other day.
I saw like the first 30 minutes. I didn't
Yeah,
finish.
I mean, it was long. It was like a
Yeah.
couple hours.
It was like almost 2
I kind of
hours.
fell asleep.
It says, "Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools." So it doesn't really make sense for us to get angry because we know what's to come of this place and the situation that we're in. We know it's all the Lord's work. So it doesn't really make sense for us to get angry. It would be foolish. You
But-
know, when we in the flesh, so you get angry in the flesh.
Yeah, but in the flesh, you are gonna get angry. You know,
Yeah.
things of this world is gonna get to you mentally and physically.
In this kingdom, it's like you work to pay bills. Like that's literally what you do. You get up every day, make a living, so you can just pay bills.
Exactly. So that's no way for us to live.
Like that. What life is that worth living? Like, is that all there is?
So now it's like you gotta find a way to get into position to make more money. Of course, how are you gonna do that? Everything you get, you're gonna have to work hard for it, right? So what? You're gonna go take an extra shift at the job, or
Right.
get a second or third job so you can go to school
Second jobs.
and pay for that education so that you can get that career that pays you more money. And that's a gamble in and of itself right there.
Now you get this second job. Now you're in a higher tax bracket. So now when you go to file your taxes, you gotta pay more in taxes now.
Yeah, like let's say you went from making 75,000 to 100,000, you could be like, oh, let me start looking for another car that's more expensive.
Yup.
And next thing you know, you're living beyond your means.
Back to square one.
And you're right back to square one.
Yo, you know, Jake is insatiable. But here on this side, you know, I get it because here all you're looking for is things to make you happy. And here on this side, there's not gonna be no tangible thing that makes you happy. All we want is the kingdom of heaven. And everything else, anything under that, we just settling.
Yeah, like I said before, you're supposed to depart mentally from this kingdom. So, yo,
Peace, man.
peace. Yeah, so your mindset should be that, all right, I'll trade everything I have in this world for the kingdom.
Oh, since you said that. Colossians. This is Colossians chapter 3, I'll start at the second verse. Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Yahweh Shai in the Most High.
Yeah, and it said that we are dead. So, like we were saying before, I mean, can you really say that we're living? Are we really living in this world, in this kingdom?
We just surviving. You know, we just taking it day by day.
Yeah, because Babylon is a place for us to be punished.
Right.
That's really all it is at the
That's
end
the
of the
only
day.
purpose for it.
It's like a prison, really.
Exactly. The Lord didn't put us here in this captivity to build ourselves up and become wealthy and all this.
I got a precept. Isaiah 31. Start from the top.
This is Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh."
You gotta slow down. I gotta break it down.
Oh, okay. I'll read it again. It says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help."
Woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help. Because Egypt is a metaphor for America. It's not speaking about ancient Egypt.
Right.
Keep going.
"And stay on horses and trust in chariots."
You stay in horses and trust in chariots. In other words, you're trusting within this system. You're trusting in the power of this man's system. You think your vote really matters?
Right.
I mean, let's be real. That's determined by the electoral college who's going to be the next president.
It goes to show you how backward this whole system is. You got a two-party system. That's confusion in and of itself. It says, because they are many and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh.
Yeah, because they're so caught up in the illusions within this system, within this kingdom, that they don't even realize that they have an ultimate savior that's dedicated to them. You know what I'm saying? So they deny the Most High, they deny His Son, and they trust in Babylon. They trust in money. They trust in riches, which aren't even going to save them when all hell breaks loose.
And the place that they go to try and find, the savior, they're pushing that narrative, that prosperity doctrine. Out here, we giving you straight facts. We just telling you the truth and how it is. Because of who we are and how we look, people aren't going to accept it.
That's fine. We don't care.
Yeah, we know it's meant for who it's meant for. Continue.
Yep.
It says, yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity.
Yeah, and that's really starting off with the prophets, because the prophets are going through the Bible prophecies and declaring the end to Esau's power. So we read earlier, better is the end of the thing than the beginning. So why wouldn't we talk about the end of our captivity? You know what I'm saying? That's what we come out here and do, really. We're prophesizing about the kingdom, prophesizing about Esau losing his power, because those two are related.
Right. Esau's downfall means our uprise. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together.
That's it. So Egypt, aka America, is really on its way out. I mean, the closing curtains is right upon us. I mean, just to touch on the debate the other day, I mean, it was really hard to watch and take it seriously. It all just seemed like a soap opera.
For real. They were just throwing jabs at each other. They wasn't really answering questions.
And it was a bad look.
Yeah. So, this is Romans chapter 8, verse 20. It says, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope.
Yeah, so you want to know why the Israelites departed from the statutes and commandments of the Most High? It's because the Most High didn't perfect us. He made us this way to be subject to sin and vanity. So that's why the Bible says to walk after the Spirit and not the flesh. So it's really like an everyday war that we're fighting. You know how the Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood,
but against principality, spiritual wickedness in high places.
Spiritual wickedness in high places. So this is a spiritual war that we're fighting.
It says, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High. For we know that the whole creature groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body.
Yeah, the redemption of our body. So these bodies that we have now, I mean, like I said, we're subject to sin, and then we're also subject to infirmities. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're out here trying to push our people towards a supreme being, a higher way of carrying yourself, and they treat it like it's worthless. You know what I'm saying? We tell you that, you're gonna be able to have dominion and power over the entire earth. Oh, you're never gonna get sick again. Oh, your grandmother that has diabetes, well, she's never gonna have to suffer from infirmities once we're in the kingdom or when another lifetime happens. You know what I'm saying? People would think that, oh, that's unbelievable right there. But when you read throughout the scriptures, it lets you know like how miracles took place and how even Samson, he had spiritual power, you know?
Right.
So, you know how there's passages in the Bible that people think is like fake or phony or it's like a fallacy, you know what I'm saying? But no, that stuff is real. We just haven't seen none of that stuff yet in our lifetimes.
Again, that's where faith comes in. You know, believing the unseen.
Yeah, because for Samson to have, what is it? Was it like the jawline of an ass? The jawline of an ox or something like that? For him to do that and then like slay all those, what was it, the Philistines? Some Hamite tribe. For him to do that, it's like no regular person can do that. And then the story goes that he was tied up to beams. He was chained up on the beams, and then suddenly he got the power to pull the beams down. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So when you read stories like that, you might think it's straight out of a comic book, but no, these comic book companies get their inspiration from reading the Bible.
Right.
That's where they draw their inspiration from. I even went into that when I did that video about the Fallout series. Remember that show?
Yeah.
You finished that show yet?
Yeah.
Yes. So I went into how even within like the video game franchise Fallout, they quoted the scripture from Psalms, the book of Psalms, about Edom. So it's like that lets you know that they're reading through the Bible and then they're creating a video game off of it.
Right.
And then they're going into how it's a post-apocalyptic world after the missiles dropped. You know what I'm saying? The nukes. And then how life would be. Which they say that would be like the worst thing. It'd be better off if you die like instantly when the missiles drop. But to like survive it and like come back to the surface and then just see how destroyed everything is and how like people's morale's going out, that's like worse. They say it's worse surviving the aftermath.
Yeah, there's like in I forgot which Assassin's Creed it was, but there's like a part of the game that's like a mission where you have to chase down Cesare Borgia and assassinate him. But I remember when I was younger and I was playing the game, and they show you like Cesare and what he looks like and who you're looking for, and I was like, that looks like Jesus.
That's what you thought of?
Yeah, like when I was like, that looks like Jesus.
So that's real like history.
Yeah, it's history.
There's a reason why the Bible is the most popular book of all time.
Right.
Like as much as these NOI guys and these Muslims try to say that they deal with the Quran, they still be going back to the Bible.
Yeah, they read the Bible more than they read the Quran.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
Because they know that's where the prophecies reside.
Romans 8:23 says that not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doeth he yet hope for? But if
yeah, because if it was right there in front of you and you seen how it was tangible, you'd be like, well, I already have it. I don't gotta hope for it. So we hope for the kingdom. We know it's coming, but really what I'm trying to say is that we hope that we're part of the first fruits and that we get delivered from the destruction from World War III.
yeah, it says which have the first fruit of the spirits. You know, we don't know if we are the first fruit. We hope that we are, but we don't know for sure. It says, but if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. With patience, we're waiting for the kingdom. We're not out here trying to hope and pray that we find a way to beat Esau's system ourselves.
Right.
You know, we're putting our trust and faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Because we can't do this all on our own. I mean, think of every organization, every coalition that's been formed by Black Americans, and let me know which one of them has been successful.
Right.
And
The
that-
Black Panthers,
that
where they at now?
Yeah. How many of them really moved the needle?
That was good.
I got a precept. Get Isaiah 4 and 1. Because it's about to get bad out here. You know what I'm saying? I was watching a debate, and they were speaking about how, like how they would handle the war that's going on right now. Trump said that, oh, if I was president, this war with Russia would never have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
But how could you really say that for sure? You know, Russia rising up and making the moves that they're making is a fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 38. So, in a roundabout way, Trump is saying that he would stop Bible prophecy,
Right.
which we know he can't do. He also said that, I don't know if he said that in the debate, but he also said this previously, that he would stop the CBDC system,
Yeah, I remember
which,
that.
yeah, which the CBD system is tied to the Quran, Revelation 13 and 16. So, again, there he goes saying in a roundabout way he would stop Bible prophecy. But really what this dude is doing is he's finessing the people. Because let's say you do vote for him. Let's say he does get into office. Do you understand that the world is on the brink of World War III? Experts are saying this. And you can put all else aside. You know, you can stop dealing with Bible prophecy hypothetically. Analytically look at what's going on. Look at all these formations of these alliances. Russia with North Korea, BRICS, NATO. Like, do you see the pieces that are being moved into place?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said earlier. It's one thing to be able to visualize what's going on, but to understand why it is that it's going on is totally different. Like,
Right.
the people out here, they can see like, oh yeah, these things are going on, but do you know why they're going on? Can you link Bible prophecy to what it is that's going on?
These people don't know that they're living in the last days.
That's spiritual power on a low level.
Right.
This is Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying,
7 women shall take hold of one man. Keep going.
we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
So check this out, right? I'm putting 2 and 2 together now. You know how recently they said that the mandate for the draft is already set in place? You know,
yeah.
both that, what was it, the House and the Senate?
Yeah.
They voted for it, right?
They gotta vote like to pass it through, but they wrote it
Yeah,
out.
but more than likely it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I went down.
Like, it's gonna happen, right? So they also included women into the draft. It's gonna be all hands on deck. So it said that 7 women shall take hold of one man. So picture a scenario like this. It's World War. The draft is implemented. You get a letter in the mail. Women start getting letters in the mail, and they gotta go. So in order for women to dodge the draft, they probably gonna be like, "Yo, I gotta find a dude to get impregnated by." Because if you're pregnant, then you can't go off the war, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a good angle. I didn't even look at it from that angle.
Yeah, I just put that together.
Or they might have sent so many men away to go fight war. Now women is like...
That's another thing I was going to say, because the population of men is going to be dwindled.
Right.
So, therefore, a woman finding a real man or somebody that they would want to attach themselves to is going to be harder to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And let's go with the scenario that I came up with. What the hell? You saw that? So yeah, let's go up with this first scenario that I came up with, you know, about women finding a man to get pregnant by. Yeah, I mean, that could possibly happen. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And then it's like, and when it says take hold to one man, it doesn't mean just any man. It's speaking of a man of the Lord. Because it says, in that day men will be in travail like women, and their hearts will be failing them for fear. Like a regular man, he doesn't know what's going on out here. So he's going to be just as scared as a woman. But a man of the Lord, you know, he's going to have that stoic look on him because he knows what it is that's going on. He's going to have that aura on him. And a woman, you know, women can weed that out.
Yeah, it's talking about the Israelite man, really.
Exactly.
Because you got to think about it. Can you really picture like Jake, even a Jake that's not in the truth? Can you picture him going off overseas to fight in a war that has nothing to do with him? Muhammad Ali didn't want to do that back then.
Yeah.
And a nigga's not going to want to do that now.
Yep. They'd rather just shoot each other. They're not going to fight no war.
I mean, we're talking about a generation of kids that got ADD, right?
Can't read on their grade level.
They suffer from anxiety.
Yeah, the kids these days, they're all messed up. The food they eat. Like these kids these days, this is something new. Like that's never been seen before. Like it's something different about these kids. I can't even explain it.
But yeah,
they don't got no respect for nothing.
You heard about the article about how they're really serious about drafting women?
Yeah.
That's never even been done before in history.
All hands on deck.
So picture a scenario like that. I mean, think about it. You got a family member, and she might be a female. She gets a draft letter. What do you think she's gonna do?
She's gonna panic.
She's gonna panic. She's gonna find out the way to get around it. She's gonna be like, well, I don't want to take the charge because it's gonna be a felony on my record. So let me figure out another way.
You ain't gonna have nothing to come back to. You go over there.
Yeah. So it's not even gonna matter at the end of the day anyway.
Right. That's why I can't wait, yo. I can't wait.
Yo, and check this out. The analysts and experts are saying that there's a 50% chance that this war can break off next year.
Yeah, right. It's so easy to see. It's not like it's something that's far-fetched or it's a conspiracy theory. Like, it's something that's very, like, it's right there.
And then we gotta see what happens in November.
Right.
See how that event plays out.
You women, you want it to be equal. Now y'all about to find out.
Yeah, so, I mean, where we at? We just about 5 months away?
Yeah. Ready in July, pretty much. So 4 months.
Yeah.
That was it in Isaiah.
Yeah, that's it. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Isaiah 4:1, about how it says 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. That's one of those prophecies where you gotta wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Like you gotta wait and see, and you gotta be like, oh, that's Isaiah 4:1. You know what I'm saying? Because the pride of these women is so high, it's almost hard for you to see or believe them throwing themselves at a dude.
I could, but things get bad enough.
Exactly. So that's when you're gonna know, like, this is the fulfillment of Isaiah 4:1.
And even in that day, Jake, he gonna be turning you away, like, because in that day, a woman, that's gonna be like a burden for real. A woman now is a burden. So imagine then.
Yeah, women, they just get in your way now, as much as it is. So let's picture it like when it's the end of the world and we're in dystopia and it's a societal collapse. You're not even gonna want a woman if she's just gonna hold you back or be in your way.
Right.
You gotta bring something to the table. You gotta contribute. Read that again. Actually, Isaiah 4:1.
Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
Yeah, well, let me marry you. Let me be married to you.
You ain't got to do nothing for me. I got my own clothes. I got my own food. Just take
You ain't
away my
gotta pay all
reproach.
my bills. You know how that's the attitude of a lot of women nowadays. They want to be pampered and taken care of.
Yeah, they want they want to break bread.
Yeah.
They want you to bust them down.
Which, I mean, that's their nature, but it's unrealistic in this society now as it is. You know, when you take into account the state of the economy, you know, some people debate like, oh, should a man pay 100% of the bills? That's not even ideal.
It doesn't even make sense. Like, these niggas is out here tricking off on hoes. I can understand if it was like a woman that was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out. Like, she's just righteous, you know? She's not just wicked as all hell, you know? That's one thing, but these men out here tricking off on hoes.
Yeah, so
I
a
don't
lot of these women, they think that the world revolves around them.
Right.
So that attitude is going to be out the window in a scenario of martial law, or in a scenario of Jacob's trouble, right?
Yeah. You got something?
Yeah.
These women, they're gonna be looking at sight in that day.
Second Ezra 15 and 14. The key point is in verse 16.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Meaning destruction, death, fear,
Plagues, famine, just tribulation in general.
Exactly.
It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand.
Yeah, so that's going into like riots, dystopia, you know, just people not obeying law. Looting.
It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Yeah, because people aren't going to be regarding the president's orders that he's giving to states. Like, oh, Texas, oh, you gotta get your legislation together so that you can maintain order within your state. You know what I'm saying? People aren't gonna be listening to no damn state governor or senator or president.
Right.
So that those type of times are coming. They're coming to Babylon. We don't know exactly how, but we know that it's coming. It could be by way of the next Black Swan event, which we don't even know how that could work.
Right.
For sure, really. But everything that's going to happen, we're going to be able to measure it up in prophecy.
It's not going to be a surprise to us. Like, when we see what's going on, we're going to be able to pinpoint, oh, this is what it is.
So what we're reading, which is prophecy, we know that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how.
You see it on low levels here already in America. So imagine when shit hits the fan and it's complete chaos. A precept. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 2. It says, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection. You see, the people aren't gonna have that mutual respect that they may have had for one another at a certain point in time.
Remember that show or that movie on Netflix, Leave the World Behind? So when it's a doomsday scenario like that, trust is out the window. Trust nobody.
Right.
Not even somebody you went to school with or you grew up with.
The neighbor.
Because people's energy can shift. You see people that be all about themselves and their own self-preservation.
Being hungry, when you imagine somebody being so hungry, there's no telling what they'll do to you.
Yeah, especially in a state of emergency. You know how you be hungry now in the world? And
Yeah, you're
the way
cranky.
society is. Like, you might be at work one day and you just can't wait till it's time to go to lunch. You know what I'm saying? You want to low on energy, you're aggravated, you know what I'm saying? You're vexed easily. So if you get aggravated when you're hungry now, just imagine when it's the end of the world, when it's Jacob's trouble.
You got food in your house, your neighbor doesn't. Your neighbor also has children that are starving.
It's gonna be something worth dying for.
For real, you think he's not coming for you? He ain't know you like that. It was just high and by and passing. He don't give a shit about you. It says, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of the Most High. You see, because in that day, the elect, we know better than to act like that because all hell is breaking loose. Because one, we know why all hell is breaking loose. And if we are of the elect, we know the Most High got us. So we don't got to worry. But these people, they're going to be running around like chickens with their head cut off. What's that movie we seen? What's the name of it? Civil War. That movie couldn't even do it justice. It's gonna be way worse than that. They didn't show you how there wasn't in the movie, and in real life there's gonna be children slain on the streets. They didn't show you that in the movie. Children, women, and people just gonna be walking right past them, stepping over corpses. It's gonna get that bad out here.
So all these movies such as Civil War and Leave the World Behind, it's predictive programming.
Yeah, what they call a psyop.
So we're close to the end. Actually, go back to 2nd Ezra 15.
Oh. Continue where we left off?
Yeah.
I got to the 16th verse.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going on that. Go to verse 17.
2nd Ezra 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
A man shall desire to go into a city and not be able. Whether he be barred from crossing over a bridge because there's so many cars and traffic on the road.
Roadblocks.
Or whether it's martial law and they're telling you that you're in a red zone. There's a certain proximity to where you're allowed to go, and if you wander off, then you're going to be arrested on sight, or maybe even smoked.
You outside your 15 minutes, turn around.
Because remember, when there's like rioting and looting and stuff like that going on, starvation, famine, it's going to be a scenario where you trust nobody.
Government, they might try and step in to try and have some order.
Yep.
So they'll set up roadblocks. People can't travel and go to where they want to get to.
And people are gonna be like, nah, forget all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna have some people that bucket. They're just gonna be put to death.
Right.
It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
And think about this too. Say there's a draft. People get that letter in the mail, that's gonna be grounds for rioting right there.
Right.
People will be like, no, you're sending all this money and all this aid to all these foreign countries. What have you done for the people on here, on this soil?
Right.
You letting all these migrants within the border. This is not our fault. This has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? That can be people's mindset, and then they start going out in the streets protesting. And it can start off as protesting, but eventually it could lead to violence.
People are gonna be so scared. These people are not meant for war. They're too comfortable. It's not like the 50s. Like the men of the 50s aren't like the men of today. And now you're gonna send women? Oh man.
And then Jake woke up to the fact that we done fought in every war in U.S. history, and that we never got nothing out of it. Really,
Got nothing to show for it.
nothing to show for it. We're still treated badly.
Shit, you got Jake that's even waking up. I be seeing niggas nowadays like, I'm not voting now. I'm not voting no more. For what?
Yeah, they be like, yeah, I'm gonna be on the couch. I ain't voting.
The women though, they still hold value to that shit. They think it really means something.
That's because you gotta realize this, man. The Israelite woman, it's sad to say, but she's our enemy. She's currently our enemy.
Yeah, it's like she just goes against anything that you're for. It seems like.
If you're not with us, you're against us.
Yeah.
If you're not down with the cause, you're down with Esau. That's a bar.
Right. Second Ezra 15.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
go.
go. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the house shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation.
So remember, we was talking about a food famine earlier, a lack of food. So this is a scenario that the Bible prophesizes about.
It's so crazy. Like when you really read the scriptures and you understand what you're reading, it's literally like if you close your eyes, you can see the picture playing out in your head. Like the whole thing.
But that's why it says in what is it, Isaiah? I'll get it.
It says, a man that says, behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do, yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh.
Alright. Get Isaiah 65 and 13. Actually start off with verse 12.
This is Isaiah chapter 65, verse 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter.
Yeah, because when Jacob's trouble happens, there's going to be a lot of people that are dropping dead.
Because when I called, ye did not answer.
Yeah, because how did the Most High call? He called through his prophets. You might have came across a YouTube video and you never clicked on it, or when you did click on it, you didn't take it seriously.
Or when you seen the men outside prophesying, you walked right past them, you didn't inquire or nothing.
Or you might have scoffed at them.
It says, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear.
Right, and check this out too. It's beautiful how everything comes full circle. You know, everything that these analysts on YouTube are saying, the prophets and the men of the Lord have been saying. We've been saying that there's going to be war, and that there's most likely going to be a draft implemented, and that there's going to be food famine, starvation, death. You know what I'm saying? That's all Bible prophecy.
Prophet means to say before. We said it before they did.
Right. And now you got these red pill niggas on YouTube going at these women, exposing their hypocrisy and their stupidity. But the people that are out here on these streets, you know, like take us for example, we've been talking about this stuff. you've been saying how these women, they ain't right.
That shit is getting tired. Going back and forth with these hoes. Why y'all arguing with them for? They not gonna get it. They don't want to get it. Leave those hoes be. That shit is played out at this point. Says ye did not answer when I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
So the Most High is going to look after his servants, while the other people that disregarded the Most High's word or was never able to receive it to begin with, they're going to die. They're not going to make it. So when all hell breaks loose, we got to put our trust and faith in Mashiach Yahweh Shai and the Most High.
Chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And that would be the elect.
Start from the top, Ezekiel 9 and 1.
This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1. Says, he cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side. Inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. And the glory of the Most High power of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abomination that be done in the midst thereof.
Right, so when you go into that word cherub, it means as guardians of Eden. So that's speaking about how the angels would go around and put the mark on the elect's forehead for them to be exempt from judgment.
Right.
That's it. And that's a spiritual mark too, by the way. It's not a physical mark.
It says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Israel, through the midst of Jerusalem.
Where you at?
The 4th verse.
Oh. Yeah, just finish that up and then jump to the next precept.
It says, the point is in the 6th verse. That's why I started at 4.
Oh, really?
It says, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Yeah, because that's what we're doing. We're sighing and crying. We're waiting on the Most High to hurry up and destroy this place.
And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary.
So that's plain and clear. Everybody that isn't exempt from judgment, they're gonna get caught up in the destruction. They're gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, that's why like personally, I don't think the elect will be getting called into the draft. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's not meant for us.
I do.
Now, I could believe that there will be like, maybe some of us here and there that might get called. That just might be your lot. You might have to give your life for this thing. The Bible says that. But ultimately, I don't really think that's meant for us. That's meant for these people.
I mean, obviously, if you're in the truth, you're not going to go to war. It tells you what's going to happen to the men of war of Babylon and Jeremiah 50 and 30. You can get that one next.
Yeah, I got you. It says, then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. That was the point.
Yes, so me personally, I believe that every man in Babylon is going to be called to war. If you're within that age range or within like a health range to where you qualify. Because it's going to be all hands on deck.
That was there on that.
So let's say you get drafted and you qualify as a draft dodger because you didn't want to go off to war. There's going to be penalties for that. They might lock you up. And the Bible says that the devil shall cast some of us into prison because he knows that he has but a short time.
Right.
So this man is going to be so frantic and start a draft and is ultimately going to go to war. We know that for sure, that he's going to be sacrificing the population of men within this country. Really. Because he sees the formation of BRICS and how they're deviating from the U.S. dollar and how that's detrimental to the economy and the pull that Babylon has around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that this place is declining, whether it be morally or whether it be politically and even militarily.
Economically, this place is falling on all fronts, literally.
Exactly.
All fronts. That's what gives us hope. At least me, especially, like just seeing the state of this country, just this nation in general. It just lets me know that we're almost out of here.
So, with one last attempt to try to save Babylon and salvage this place, they're gonna start a war. They're gonna go off to war.
Yep.
And that's also gonna be tied into the charagma, the fulfillment of Revelation 13 and 16 in some way. Because I mentioned earlier how BRICS is forming their own currency to get away from the dollar. So everything's about to go digital. So in order for there to be like I guess you could say a fix or an attempt to fix the economy, they're going to have to start all over. There's going to have to be like a great reset. You know what I'm saying? So we know that that's going to be tied into digital currency.
Yep. Once that hyperinflation kick in, they're going to be like, yo, this dollar is unsustainable. And you got to give us something.
And inflation, people are feeling it now.
Yeah.
Somebody did a video. They had their evidence and their support. They went back and looked at their purchase history from 2 years ago and how much it costed. And I think the number was $125. And then 2 years after, now it shot up to over $400 worth of groceries.
Yeah.
And they had like 50 items or 40-something items within the cart.
Yeah.
So that same 45 or 50 items that you bought 2 years ago, now is worth $400. That's how much it costs.
It's always been like that. It just
so
gets
that's
worse and
so
worse.
that's inflation.
Yep. You remember going to the grocery store with your parents? They might spend $50. They have a cart full of shit. Now you fit $50. You got like 5 items.
Yeah, so now it's harder to survive. Now you gotta start making cutbacks in order to buy certain items that you need to live or survive or have a certain comfort of life.
Right. Then the bullshit job you work, they're not giving you a pay raise to keep up with the inflation. So you're always gonna be falling behind. That's why everybody lives check to check. Well, majority of people live check to check.
Yeah, so people are gonna be looking for a way out. They're gonna be looking for a solution to this inflation. And if you ask me, you know, the charagma is gonna come into play in order for the solution.
Yeah. They're gonna be begging for the solution.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a rumor that they're gonna come out with a UBI, and the UBI is gonna have connection to the charagma. So if you take the charagma, you're gonna get some money.
Yeah.
But that's a rumor. I mean, we gotta wait and see how that works.
Get like $2,000 a month on your joint, on your charagma.
Or they might give you 10,000 as a sign-up bonus. Well, it's gonna be like, well, you're gonna need it anyway, so that's gonna be the mindset. I need it anyway, so I might as well take it. You know?
Yeah,
Inflation's
I've heard that.
Inflation's beating me down.
I also heard like the universal basic income you're talking about. It's like a thing where imagine your charagma is like a prepaid card. You get $2,000, say $2,000 every month. But if you don't spend the $2,000,
They take it away.
They take it away.
It's not like you could save.
Right. I could see the devil doing some shit like that. You quote for Jeremiah 51 and 30, right?
50 and 30.
50 and 30? This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 30. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh.
Young men fall in the streets because in a time of pandemonium and a time of dystopia, you know, people are going to be panicking. They're going to be losing their marbles. And it said that all of her men of war will be cut off. So those of you that do go off to war or that are in the military come World War III, I mean,
You're gonna die.
it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for you.
You're just a sheep. You're just a sheep to the slaughter.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Don't expect to come back a war hero.
With a purple heart.
Right. They're not even gonna give you when you do die. They're not even gonna be able to give you that flag, you know, with the triangle, when it's like a fallen soldier. You're not even gonna get that.
Because the next war, this war is going to be nuclear. Nobody's going to win that one.
Yo, ain't nothing coming.
Why do you think
back.
they say it's the war to end all wars? At that point, it's going to be the one who comes out the least unscathed.
Right. Pretty much.
Because everybody's going to get touched up. Well, not everybody, no, not every country, but, you know, because there are going to be neutral zones, neutral areas around the world. It's not like the whole world's going to be, you know, engulfed in flames.
Every square inch of America is gonna be destroyed.
But yeah, that's what I was getting to. Every square inch, every mile, it's just going to be a vast desert,
Yo.
a vast wasteland. And also, you know, the land over there where the phonies is residing, you know, that's going to be wiped out too. It's going to have to be cleansed. And if you look at it, they're the ones that are initiating a lot of this stuff, a lot of these reactions from these countries and militaries.
Trump was going in. He was saying that too.
Yeah, speak on that.
Yeah, because there was at one point, I gotta watch my words here, you know.
Yeah.
At one point, he was like, the people over there in the Holy Land now, it's like they're the ones to blame. They keeping this thing going, and that's true. You know, the Prime Minister of the Holy Land now, he's trying to keep that going because he knows once that war comes to an end, they're gonna try and convict him as a war criminal.
Right.
So it's only in his best interest to keep this war going.
Yeah, and
And Trump, he pretty much hinted at that. He didn't say it straight up like that, but that's pretty much what he was hinting at.
Right.
Like they're the ones keeping this going.
And they try to get as much money as they can to continue this conflict that we see going on. So it's not a good look, everything that's going on right now.
Right. Good for us.
But it's great for us.
So,
This all is gonna be a factor on the political side of things when the time comes. So we'll see what's gonna happen
right.
within the next 4 months or so. Because when I'm watching that debate, that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I really can't say what's gonna happen for sure. But it ain't looking too good with either options.
For real.
Because both y'all options is gonna send your men and women off to war.
Yo.
Ultimately.
And you know they was full of shit, man. They was ducking the good questions. Like, oh, that was a good question. They was ducking them shits. It was spinning. So, Jeremiah 50 and 31.
And you know how stupid people are gonna feel putting out their vote towards an individual that's gonna send their son and their daughter off to pretty much die.
Yo. That's what these people get, though.
You ain't coming back after your service and then getting access to your military benefits, your damn free college tuition or whatever.
GI Bill. Veterans and stuff like that, they get that discount.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be able to take advantage of that. There ain't
Not gonna be nothing to come back to.
Nothing to come back to. And they don't understand that. That's why I can't wait for all of this to just crack off.
And the way things is looking is soon.
Lord's will.
It's gonna happen soon.
Lord's will. These people are proud, man. They don't have a clue about what's going on, but yet they still want to be proud. Jeremiah 50 and 31 says, "Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee."
Time where the Most High will visit Esau Edom for all the injustices and tragedies that he's carried out, that he's promoted.
It says, "And the most proud shall stumble and fall."
And there's nobody more prouder than Esau.
Right.
I mean, the Bible tells you that.
They think their kingdom is gonna go on forever. They don't think it's ever gonna end. So that also means they don't believe that the Messiah is coming to save us and destroy this place. They proud.
Yeah, the person that's in the winning seat is also the person that's the most glorious, the most braggadocious. And that happens to be Esau Edom right now.
Yep.
So he can't even see himself falling. He don't even want to think about that. He wants to keep his power. That's why he wants to execute his NWO agenda. And even if that means cracking a few eggs along the way, he's going to do that. Even if that means sacrificing a certain amount of people, he's going to do that.
What's that saying? You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
Right. So I think that's why they're really starting this war. Because they know that the time was going to come eventually where the U.S. dollar will lose its dominance.
And that's really all they got at the end of the day now is that their military might.
Yeah, because during the 1970s, that's why they sent Henry Kissinger over there to Saudi Arabia to close out on that deal. So that they could trade with oil.
Right.
Within the currency of the U.S. So you think about it. If you lose all that power across the world, you're really nothing.
Yeah.
You're no longer the world superpower anymore.
Exactly.
So that's going to be a hard idea to accept if you're an Edomite of America. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're an individual that's profiting off of the interests that America has around the world.
You got military bases set up all across the world. And Howard Shah, he's coming to destroy all that shit.
Yeah, you done started all these wars in the past so that you can have an excuse to go up in people's lands and take their resources.
Exploit them. Exploit the land.
And get more money, more power. And now since that's falling apart, you know, I see them panicking. Do something that's frantic, that's pressing the nuclear button. Because that is really insanity.
Yeah, they're spiraling.
Yeah.
They're spiraling. They really grasping at straws now.
Yeah. So if the U.S. is like, well, nuclear arms is on the table, and you got other countries that say that nuclear arms is on the table for them as well, that's that scripture where it says, let the weak say I am strong.
Right.
So now we're seeing how the level of playing field is evened out now.
Yep.
So somebody's gonna make the first move. And then it's gonna cost them.
Press the button.
Finish that and then we're gonna close.
Jeremiah 50 and 31 says, Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts. For the day is come, the time that I will visit thee, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him.
Yeah, and that fire is talking about nuclear destruction.
Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Right, and then that's going to be our liberation when the end of Babylon happens. So with that, we're going to close. Shalom.
Shalom.